Welcome to the Sales Acceleration Show. Today we have Kurt.
Hi, Michael.
Kurt, co-founder, I have to say, CEO of Marquise. And I wanted to talk to you about something very important, something that keeps coming back, which is sales leadership.
Yes, indeed.
Which is a bit of a difficult topic these days because we talk a lot about sales, we talk a lot about social selling, all the techniques, but real leadership is something else. So I wanted to ask you immediately straight away the difficult question. What's for you a good sales leader? What should I think of? Or how should it work? And then let's just go into detail of that.
Yeah, let's jump into the topic. For me, in the first place, a good sales leader is a human being in the first place.
Of course.
Because leading people means also working with people. And then comes immediately the words like trust, responsibility, authority, and things like that. So that in the first place, a good leader is a human being that wants to let grow other people.
So no longer the classic dictator that rules the teams.
I don't believe in dictators. I think it's something with a real short notice period that might help, but in the long run, a dictator or something like that is not a good leader.
I fully agree. I had lots of dictators as boss, and it never really. I only resented them at the end.
A good leader, a good human being, as I said. But there is also the other side. And the other side for me is that a good leader is also somebody that has a real focus on realizing results with the team.
Yeah.
And the combination of being really human and also focused on results is not always an easy combination.
No.
Because working with people and leading people also means that you're confronted with success, the good part, but also with failure.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with failure?
Yeah.
That's not an easy one.
So if we would break it down into some components, like sales leadership, we have, of course, some elements like team and then the dreaded commission structures and all. It's something that always comes back. But we might have also sales strategy.
Yeah.
We might have something like sales tooling. What else? Maybe I'm forgetting some. There are some...
strategy, tooling, process. How a customer buys and how a sales rep is selling.
The buying journey.
Yeah, indeed.
Would marketing fit in there?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
The first topic you mentioned is a great one because you said commission.
So it's back.
So let's talk about commission. I had a conversation recently with quite a big company where the collaboration between marketing and sales is not optimal. Sales is asking for more leads. Marketing traditionally is
asking for more money.
Crying for sales to work on the leads that they receive. And then when you dig a little bit deeper into the real issue, ask the question at a certain moment, how is your pay organized today?
Yeah.
Meaning that today in the market, a sales rep, for example, can earn on target 10K on bonus or commission. A marketing rep or a marketing professional can earn 1K.
Yeah.
So you see the difference?
Yeah.
So how can you speak about we are really working together, we have the same common goal, etc. And your bonus scheme is 1 on 10.
I do agree, but I do rarely see marketing teams with like sales commission style. Very rarely I've seen it.
Yeah. I understand what you say, but basically you're managing the same funnel. So make sure that your bonus structure reflects the responsibility of marketing and sales, also customer care.
Yeah.
Because what about cross and upselling, for example?
Yeah. Yeah, the classic,
and that's a sales leader responsibility that he or she should discuss this on a COMEX level with the CEO, with marketing, and in the companies where this is good on a structural basis organized. You see success.
What about tooling? I see more and more tooling. One of the effects I also see is something I call personal sales tooling, because the company is not organizing tooling for them, so they start buying their own little tools based on LinkedIn, whatever they have, which then again is another problem. But most companies don't suffer that problem yet, but it will come.
It will come, and I think you have a huge difference between corporates and the small companies. I used to be more a fan of let's stick to the process that is in place in the corporate, meaning don't do a lot of trial error with other tools because you might get stuck. Today I'm more and more a fan of let's just try things.
Yeah.
Because the buyer is evolving, we should as sales also evolve. So you need to try new stuff.
I actually like to do it on a team level where you
absolutely,
can have, I'm just saying 5 salespeople say, okay, all of us for 2 weeks we try something different.
Completely agree.
It's like these very modern layered sales approaches where with a team you actually layer the content, the way you reach out, the way you talk to people, and you can address a big chunk of a market. It's something I very rarely see. Huh? You know, we did a webinar on this, we talked about it, lots of people looked look with big eyes, a great idea, nobody does it. But it works like crazy. For me, that's
it works
the future.
Like crazy.
It's one of the future elements of sales. It's that.
Big issue, though, is what do you do with the results of your trial and error sessions? And then comes the subject of coaching. I see a lot of sales leaders coach, let me call it, with their stomach.
Yeah.
I know the customers, I know the prospects. Yeah. Let's discuss with the rep.
He will like you.
Yeah, but let's stop that. Stop that. Let's talk about metrics.
Yeah.
What are the metrics that the sales rep is influencing? Let's coach reps on metrics. You have the human part, as I said in the beginning, but when it comes to focusing on results and see the evolution in, for example, pipeline movements, you need to have the metrics in place.
It's very intriguing you go there, but would you measure, one of the things I see large companies do, for instance, they measure the end result. While I like to measure the how to get to the end result more than only the end result. Because I always had commissions on like closed deals, but sometimes, I mean, the large deals would take 2 years.
It's a difference between lagging and leading KPIs.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Lagging is indeed what's the result of the month, of the week, of the day, of whatever. Leading is measuring the way you're approaching your result.
Yeah,
and you can
that
see
would be
trends.
Quantitative, or how would you do that?
Both.
Both?
Just let me give you an example. Traditionally, we're measuring the revenue, monthly revenue.
Yeah.
That's a lagging one. When you look to the leading part, for example, what's the evolution this month of the number of opportunities?
Yeah, okay.
You can add a qualitative one, for example, number of opportunities, where there is a coach in the company where you're selling present.
Yeah.
Or number of opportunities where there is a buyer action commitment. And then you're mixing quantitatively, but also a qualitative part. And I guess that helps a lot reps and sales leaders to look into their pipeline.
If we talk about leaders, reps, we need to go to team. So how, if you look into current models, I still see a lot of very traditional old school setups, an account manager. And we kind of, I mean, I had the gut feeling we like these high velocity models that SaaS invented, SaaS software as a service. It's the inside sales models that really work. You segregate the roles. It's cheaper cost of acquisition, but it also increases the speed velocity dramatically. So what's your view on those?
I think every business is different. An exercise that really helps to define how to organize your team is please map out the buyer journey. You must absolutely understand how your prospect is buying from you. And when you know how in each stage he's buying, you can set up the right team to do so. First stage probably is in your pipeline is how do you challenge the status quo? Yeah. How do you squeeze somebody to say, hi, I have a problem or an opportunity? It's not a hunter role for me.
It's not the closer role. So
it's not a closer role.
Yeah.
When you are in the aware stage, for example, who should then be the right role? And it could be a combination of marketing and sales roles, mixing in small teams, for example.
It's the famous MQL versus the SQL, where you put, because inside sales, if you go there, the whole debate is always, do we put them in marketing, do we put them in sales?
So for me, there is no one model and one size fits all organizational model. Just try what works best in your market and understand absolutely how your buyer is buying.
What am I forgetting? So we had teams, we had leadership, we had software tooling, we had...
as I said, the process. What's your sales process?
See, real sales guys are not really structured, right? But process is completely right.
Yeah, and that's the...
Because that's the part where people feel in control or not.
Yeah, feeling control, maybe the least pleasant part, because process means discipline, also means giving feedback to each other when the process is not working.
Yeah.
But that's something that you need to have in place, because when you know how a prospect is buying, you should have a process in place, how you're going to sell to that prospect.
So how do I start? I mean, we all think we have a process, and most of the time the process is the CRM, whatever, that nobody fills it in, so we get in this endless squeeze. So what's your advice? I mean, you've been doing this for a while now.
Yeah, indeed. What you should do, as I said in the beginning, also map out your buyer journey, and then try to put your little process steps, how you would approach
literally
the needs.
How to get to the next step. How to get to the next step.
And do that step by step.
Yeah.
Don't jump into conclusions. I had a very interesting discussion yesterday about the use or not use of a corporate presentation in the sales process. And what was happening in that company right now is that, in fact, the very first conversation There we presented immediately a 20-page corporate presentation.
Good God.
It was just to kill the buyer from the very first moment. At the end of the discussion yesterday, we said, we might probably only use that presentation in the consideration phase. And not before, and certainly not afterwards. So that's the reason why you need to discuss sales process. And what kind of tools and content are you going to use? Very curious to read your book, by the way, that you're working on.
Thanks a lot. I think
with pleasure.
We covered most of it, actually. So I think we should wrap it up.
Yes.
I think the key is sales leadership is human, is defined by a few steps. And remember, dear sales friends, process, because it will bring you rest, but it will also bring you scale. Thank you, Kurt, for coming to the show.
Thanks, Michael.
Ineens begint dat, hè?
Ja. Ik krijg precies zo, boom, dus ze zijn daar.
Ik heb maar niet veel moeten zeggen.